y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a new art journaling process video for you. I am working in the Dina Wakley Media Journal, and this is the blue edition. And the cool thing about this is that it has a bunch of different textures to work and play with, and that is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to take on this blue jean piece today. I have some scrap papers pulled out. I have an idea kind of where I want to go, but we'll see how that takes a turn as I work through. So I will definitely, as I go through this, I will link supplies down below if you're interested in checking it out. Otherwise, I will put you on fast forward and let's go. I was inspired by my Take 10 series from last week, which if you haven't checked that out, that is a YouTube live series that I do on Tuesday mornings. It always reposts later, and it's really about having an art play date, just playing with different techniques, not worrying about a final product, and just having fun with your supplies and kind of letting go. And last week I did one on collage and I enjoyed it. I forgot how much I love just collaging pieces together, and so that was the main inspiration for this page. And so I went through my scrap folders or my scrap envelopes, and I'll link a video to what these envelopes are, how I organize all my scraps. But I went through and picked out some different colors, and I wanted to make a rainbow, and I'm going to make the rainbow out of torn pieces of paper all put together, all in kind of a collage format. So you can see I'm just going through my scrap papers now. I picked out a pink, I'm going with some oranges and yellows, I have a purple there, and then I will also choose like a bluish green color to work with, and I'll put it in hyperspeed so you don't have to watch me cut up every single little piece of paper. So this obviously took some time tearing up these papers, but I also happen to think it's really therapeutic. Just tearing up the pieces, using them, seeing them in the colored piles just makes me happy. Something about those colors and rainbows have just been inspiring me a lot lately. I really love the thought of rainbows, the promise of rainbows, and just wanted to incorporate that into my first page in this new art journal. So I have all my pieces ready to go, and I decided I'm going to gesso this blue jean. I will be honest, I'm not sure how to work on the blue jean. I don't know what to do, and so my first thought was I should gesso it in case I want to paint over the top and I don't want things to soak in. It turns out I wasn't going to paint over the top. I end up just sticking with this collage technique. But when you're in a new art journal, sometimes you just experiment, try different things, and we'll see what works with all of these different materials that are included in this particular mixed media journal. And you can see here, simple enough, I am just gluing the pieces down. They're overlapping. I want them to look ragged and kind of thrown together. My original idea was to have the rainbow starting on one part of the page and kind of falling apart on the other, and it just didn't end up working out like that. I liked the solid look. I am just using a standard Elmer's glue. I can't be the only one that's kind of running out of adhesive at their houses. Am I the only one, or is anyone else experiencing an adhesive shortage recently? So I'm just using some standard Elmer's glue that I was able to refill into my detail bottle right here, just from my kiddos Elmer's glue. So I am covering over this binding right here, and a little bit nervous how it's going to hold, but we'll see. I decide I'm going to want something in the background of my rainbow over here, so I'm going to stop and work with that. These are Dina Wakley's gloss sprays, and it is an acrylic spray, so it doesn't react with water the way a Tim Holtz Distress spray would, or the Dylusions sprays that I like. And so I just picked up a couple of these recently from scrapbook.com and am enjoying experimenting with them. They have a different look, a different feel to them, and so I just wanted to give them a try on this page. A lot of it ends up getting covered up, but just wanted to pull them out, give them a try. I can continue with my rainbow right here. You can see, again, I'm going over that binding, that gutter in the middle, and it does end up folding okay, so I'm not really worried. Finishing up with the pink right here. Yes, this did take a little bit of time, but I just put on some great music, kind of rocked out, kind of zoned out, and really enjoyed piecing together this huge rainbow collage. A lot of fun. I decided the best way to make sure these pieces are secured down just a little bit more would be to cover them with some clear gesso. In retrospect, I maybe should have used the Liquitex Matte Gel Medium, which is really meant for collage, but again, we're working with supplies. I'm running really low on my Matte Gel Medium, so I just stuck with the clear gesso. I'll let it dry here. I was kind of impatient, so it's still not dry, but I'm just going to work from what I have. Now this is some white gesso, and I just have it on my finger, and I'm using it to kind of blend out and set apart this rainbow from the blue that is behind it. And then I'll do the same thing over here at the top of the rainbow. Again, just setting it apart from some of the other colors in the background. And I will use the white gesso later on to blend it out even more. You can see I end up covering up almost that whole blue jean page, and I don't know if that's good or bad or whatever, but I'm learning in this new art journal and having fun with the challenges. This is a Tim Holtz stencil that I picked out, sprayed with pixie spray on the back so that it would stay in place, and I'm just painting with white gesso. I am super excited about this white gesso, you guys, because if you've been watching me, you know that I've been searching for like a white paint that would be really that would stand up in my art journal, and gesso is exactly that. So I'm shifting the stencil over, and I'm intentionally not being really thorough with my painting. I want it to kind of fade out, if that makes sense, fade out into the splatters that are already on the page. And so I'm just really messily putting on this white gesso. You get some texture, which is a little bit hard to pick up here on the camera, but it's leaving behind some texture through the stencil that I am loving, and I like how it's kind of fading into the colors that are in the upper left-hand corner of this piece. After I finish over here on the left, I decide I do want it on the other side of the rainbow too, so just coming in the same way. Now every time I pick up my stencil, I'm being really careful to match up the pattern so that it looks continuous. When you're working with a smaller stencil, that can be tricky sometimes, but just being really careful with that. Now I'm adding in some black paint splatters across my page. Loving the messy look recently. It's something that just feels really natural for me right now, so I am all about the messy splatters and the messy pages. These are some black and white butterflies that I had from a previous project that I'm pulling out and I'm going to use. And right here is me adding my title. I have some white glitter alpha stickers, and it's hard to see the glitter here on the camera, but I'm using it to spell out the word rainbows. And I will then outline each of these letters with some black micron pen, which works really well over the top of this clear gesso. Remember, I covered that whole collage piece with gesso, which is now completely dry. Now I'm coming back in and I will trace over these, trace around these white glitter letters just to set them off even more from the background. This is another technique that I have been loving a lot lately. Obviously nothing complicated, but something about the tracing of the alpha stickers really makes them pop for me. And because I like mixing my own handwriting in with alphas, I think the tracing kind of brings the two together. So now you can see how rainbows is really popping off the page. And then I come back and I'm going to hand letter "There Will Be Rainbows," which is just a reminder to myself mostly and to all of us that as hard as things seem now or at different times in our lives, there will always be rainbows at the end. So just keep looking for those silver linings, for those rainbows to appear. I end up deciding I wanted the writing to be a little bit bolder, so I pulled out my Sharpie pen and went over that. And now I'm going to use these butterflies, and these are so fun. They're from some Amy Tangerine paper actually, and I used the Tim Holtz die cut set, I believe. I'll make sure to look for that and link it below, to cut them out and layer them. And I like how the black and white butterflies really stand out against the rainbow collage. Again, just some Elmer's glue on there to get them secured into place, and then I just trim off the edges and this page will be done. Thanks for joining me on this art journal video. It's always a little nerve-wracking starting a new art journal, and I had a lot of fun with this page. I think it's pretty bold to start with, so I was pretty excited to share it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I will have all of the supplies linked down below if you are interested in checking them out. And I will also have a link to my email newsletter that goes out every couple of weeks with some organization tips and lots of crafty talk. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.